What is going on, faithful? Welcome to another episode of the 49ers Rush podcast. I'm your host, as always, John Chapman. And I'm working on finalizing my draft book. And I'm just going through trying to find any like breadcrumbs. What are the 49ers interested in? What are they not interested in? Is there anything that we can tell with positional needs, what they're trying to do, all those things? Well, they put out, and the media does an excellent job. And I got this list from 49ers Web Zone. They do a great job, kind of covering just a myriad of issues for the 49ers. And they put out who has been confirmed through what media outlets the 49ers have had official pre-draft interviews and meetings with, whether that's through pro days, combine, whatever. It doesn't matter. And I don't know. I was looking at this list, and I'm going to go through it in detail with you, who the 49ers have met with. And I think the positional numbers are probably far more important than the actual names themselves. And so it's very clear what the 49ers are looking for. If you just look at the confirmed meetings that they've already had, again, let's just go through the positions. They met with one offensive tackle. They've met with one linebacker. They've met with one safety, which I know a lot of people probably don't want to hear. A lot of people want safety, one of the first priority draft choices. They only met with one, and he's a day 3 guy. We'll talk about who he is in a minute. One center, that bothers me the most. One running back, 4 corners. 4 corners, okay? So that's a priority. 4 wide receivers, that's exciting. And the most position met with 7. Almost twice as much as any other position, edge rushers. Edge. And so you look at Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch since they've showed up. They draft defensive linemen. That's what they go up with. I mean, that's just what they do. And it seems like they're going to be doing that again. James, he says, you on spring break, you nailed it, my good friend. We are getting a tiny glimpse into what John Chapman's life is going to be like in the future. And that's a lot of breakdowns and videos. Just got finished loading Debo highlights from 2022. That video is going to be coming out here just a couple short hours after this. So if you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do so because, man, we got a lot of stuff, whether it's draft prospects, all those things. So, yeah, it's my spring break. That's why I'm going live a little bit early and not in class. I'm live with you guys instead of live yelling at my students. I don't really yell at my students. That's okay. Here's an awesome question, Kyle. He says, question, do they usually draft guys that they meet with? They met with Debo. They met with Ayuk. They met with, Salvin Ahmed. Just off the top of my head, some of the players that they drafted or brought in. And I think the names are important, but I think the positions are more important, if that makes sense. It lets you know what they're targeting. For example, they met with like Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson, what's it called? CD Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, all those different guys. And guess what? They met with all these first-round wide receivers, and what do? They trade back up into the first round to get a wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk, who they did meet with. So I think it's, you're sifting through. Does it mean that they're going to draft one of these players? Not necessarily. And John Lynch has even talked about that and how sometimes they'll throw stuff out there to try to throw people off their trail. But why would you meet with 7 edge prospects if that's not a need? Now, if you look at the 49ers depth chart, they have 12 defensive linemen already. You only keep 12. I mean, you only keep 10. Last year, they kept 11, put Maurice Hurst, I believe it was Maurice Hurst, on, IR right afterwards, brought in a center, went back down to 10. So, I mean, you have the depth there. And this is kind of the MO for the 49ers with free agency. Fill the roster. Now, if you can improve a situation, then great. But you have so many edge prospects already. I'm not speaking out against. I'm trying to create a conversation for why this is good, why this is bad. Edge is going to be addressed. Okay. But if you just look at edge, you got Bosa, you got Sampson, you got Kerry Hyder, you got Charles Omenihu, you got Jordan Willis. I mean, that's 5 guys at the edge position already. Yet you meet with twice as many edge prospects as anybody else in the draft. So this is just a clear priority on what it is you're trying to address. Edge is important. Shot J, what's up, man? Great guy. Do you think some of these meetings are for due diligence? Yes. Now, why do you hold these meetings? Usually, if there's question marks you can't figure out, or you're trying to get one of those gold star, gold helmet guys that the 49ers do. Yeah, that's a part of it. If there's medical issues, if there's off the field issues, if there's intelligence issues, if you get some word from your scouts that, man, this guy just doesn't really know what's going on, you want to sit down and see if he understands concepts. Does he watch film? You can kind of tell personality wise, is this a football guy, somebody that loves football? Is this just a stud athlete? A personality things, grades things, all kinds of different things can get into, family issues, troubled past. It's not all bad. But if you have a question mark and you're like, man, I really like this guy's tape, which, they've gone over before they decided who to meet with, but I want to know this. And so sometimes you have to do a sit down and you can kind of get that and figure that out. That's where that's got to be. There we go. I think the end to trade Jimmy on the draft. I hope so. I'm just going to keep putting this out there. This tweet that I put out there, this was in March before legal tampering, over a month old now, that I put out there on Twitter. Quote, sad to say, but the Jimmy G trade might not happen until after day one of the NFL draft. I keep it by receipts and put them out there. It might not happen. I could be wrong, but I'm telling you, whenever you looked at what was happening, the breadcrumbs, right back to the breadcrumbs, baby, it makes sense. Why are they there? It makes sense why that's going on. From Kyle, did they meet with Hufanga last year? I'm going to ask you guys to do some research. I don't have a producer on this show. I want to keep going with the name. So can somebody look up if they had an official meeting with Hufanga last year? I'm not sure off the top of my head. I don't want to give incorrect information. So if you guys are, listening to this podcast through audio platforms that are not live, our what's it called? our research people are going to be jumping on this, our live YouTubers. Appreciate that. So, all right, let's jump into the actual names now. We've gone over the positions. Let's talk about it. And here's why I want to talk about the names. Not necessarily because I think these are the names that are going to be drafted. Again, I care about where they are draft positional wise on big boards around the league, because I think it tells you who the 49ers will be targeting at those positions, right? Okay, so let's go through edge, which is the most, whatever, 7 meetings. Okay, D'Angelo Malone out of Western Kentucky, very fun prospect. He's a 3rd to 4th round target. That's kind of where he's going to be. Alex Wright out of UAB, Alabama Birmingham, 3rd to 4th round target. Michael Clemens out of Texas A&M. He's a day 3 guy, kind of 5th, 6th round. If you don't get one of the top edges, this is somebody that you could settle on day 3. Boye Mafe, I think he's probably the highest on my big board out of Minnesota. I think he's a back-end 1st round pick, early 2nd round pick. So if Boye Mafe is somebody that you really, really want, that's a trade up target. He's not going to be there at 61 at all. Like, people talk about Christian Watson, the wide receiver, who they have met with. We'll talk about wide receivers in a second. Boye Mafe, that dude's going pretty high. So you're talking trade up into the 40s if that's somebody you want to go get. Drake Jackson, Southern Cal guy. He's a 2nd to 3rd round pick, which was interesting when I saw they met with him. He's not your typical speed bend rusher like a lot of these other cats are. He's a little bit of a different makeup end, more of a buck style end, not your bend guy. He's a fun prospect. I like him, but he's not that D Ford replacement guy. Dominique Robinson out of Miami of Ohio, probably 3rd round, and Majai Sanders, 2nd to 4th round. So those are the 7 edges that they've had meetings with, and you can kind of see the majority of them. That 3rd to 4th round, which the 49ers have picked 93, and they have pick 105. Let me throw this up there, their exact pick, so you can kind of see what's going on. Look at this. We're stepping up our game here at the 49ers Rush podcast. But yeah, is that somebody, are these guys you target at 61? Some of them. But it seems like that 93, 105, 134 picks, those 3 picks in the late 3rd, early 4th, not early 4th, it's late 4th. Those are the type of prospects you're looking at with this edge group, right? That's kind of, whenever you look at this, that's where that's going to be. Let's see here. I love this. John, he says, I am all for edge if it's a pure pass rusher. I could care less about a DT edge tweener. They could be had anywhere. And man, our coaches love those guys. We've got so many of those guys. They want that versatility, right? I love this. Rome, they didn't meet with Aaron Banks. Oh gosh, that would, yikes. That would hurts. Let's see here. I'm seeing they did not, from DUX Stars, they did not meet with Hufanga last year. They did not. And again, that's from WebZone. That's where I got this list from, 49ers WebZone. So I want to give them credit for what they do. They always do great stuff. Love those guys. Yeah, and right here, sticking with this edge, John says, my favorite is Arnold Ebiketie, which I like him too. If you want that pure edge speed guy, he fits it in spades. I don't think he's going to be there either, but I do like that they're doing their due diligence. And I think the question is this. Currently, before the Jimmy Garoppolo trade, if he does get traded, the 49ers are slated to have 11 picks, 11 draft picks in 2023, next year's draft class. So just because they don't have first-round picks doesn't mean they can't move around. Definitely could, especially with 2/3. I did a mock draft yesterday with trades. If you haven't watched that one yet, go back and check it out. Yeah, I think we did 3 trades in our first 3 rounds. Like, we were bouncing around all over the place, and I think we still landed 9 players in this draft. So you're going to be able to move around. The 49ers have a lot of, they've dominated the comp picks, and that helps them with finessing the draft board to go get these targets that they like. I love this. Coach Cruz, appreciate this, man. He says, no Hufanga, but they did meet with Lenore. So, yeah, if you're looking for a percentage as far as who they have or have not met with, it's probably not high. But again, when you're meeting with a bunch of corners, that means they're targeting a corner. I think that's what that means. Now, where? That's kind of the question, right? So let's go to wide receivers. They met with 4 wide receivers. And yes, yes, they did meet with Christian Watson, Trey Lance's former teammate. That dude's going high-end second round, possibly first round. You want Christian Watson. I understand those of you that do the I think it's the PFT draft simulator. Yeah, they're low on Christian Watson. And yeah, it's interesting. He's not going to be there. He's not going to be there at 61. I'm telling you that right now. If you want him, you got to trade up. They can do that, but will they? They've also met with Southern Methodist University, SMU, Danny Gray, 3rd to 5th round draft pick. Samori Torre out of Nebraska, late day 3 guy, probably 6th, 7th round draft pick. And then Mike Harley out of Miami. Again, day 3 guy. So it's like, man, if we can meet with Trey Lance, if we could sync Trey Lance and Christian Watson together, great. If not, it seems like they're going to wait on a speedster. All those guys got some decent speed there. I like this. Here we go. And getting a little more clarification from Kyle. He says, was just wondering about the Hufanga meeting because they had him as a gold helmet on their board without meeting him. Yeah, very, very true. And I think Hufanga is a person that there was a lot of information on. One, prominent family, NFL ties, all that kind of stuff with Polamalu and whatever else, plus USC. There's definitely some connections between, some 49ers front office people in USC's front office. So I think they were able to get a lot of information, and he was just a longtime starter, Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, passion for the game. He was one of the prominent spokespersons that spoke a lot after games for USC. Not that I'm a USC guy, I'm very far from it, but there was a lot of information and interviews out there. So I'm curious how that would fold, right? Because some of these guys have probably never been in front of a microphone. And so having those meetings will get that extra, depth into their character and who they are and their football savviness. I think if you ever watched anything, Hufanga jumped off his very first interview with us, saying he wanted to be a Pro Bowl special teamer. That's what he saw of himself. And so you see that, and it's just like, whew. Yeah, so great stuff, Kyle. I love that. Wonderful perspective there. Swan Song, John. Do you think with Ward being adept to man-to-man, do you think the 49ers are less reliant on a coverage strong safety? I get this a lot, Swan, and I think it's a wonderful question, but here's what I can say. For the past 2 years, the 49ers have interchangeable safeties. They do not have a legitimate free safety or strong safety. Now, they might at the outset of the play. So let's say you're moving, strong safety like Hufanga down, and you have Ward up top as that kind of cover 3 middle of the field safety. As soon as a motion happens, it's an automatic switch to where Hufanga drops deep and Jimmy Ward drops into the box. For example, if you go to, I think the Packers game, maybe it's the Packers game, where the game's on the line, Hufanga's the deep safety. This is against Devontae Adams. It's Ambry Thomas and it's Hufanga who are back against the deep post route stopping Devontae Adams. You know what I mean? Like, so they might have a plan to have, okay, we want Jimmy Ward back, but man, they've been pretty interchangeable. It didn't matter if it was Tart, didn't matter if it was, Wilson who filled in for a few games. It didn't matter if it was Hufanga. So yeah, I don't know. It does seem like speed. This is a huge speed safety class, probably one of the fastest safety classes ever. So if you want that pure speed guy, you're going to be able to get that. But yeah, I mean, Hufanga, the knock on him was, man, how can he cover deep? Limited athletic profile. He did improve as the year went on. There's no doubt about that. Kali, what's up? Danny Gray would be a nice late round addition. Speed. 6-foot guy, 4.37. There's a lot of speed. I mean, it's just the NFL, right? It's the way that things are trending in college football and just with everything in general. It's just speed. Speed kills. And that's kind of where things are. It's a lot. Now, before we jump to cornerbacks and other positions, real quick word. Come on, my baseball peeps. All right, guys, excited to tell you about the Giant Cocktails podcast. It's a weekly podcast where they cover the San Francisco Giants, which, man, we need that now more than ever. And these are two great dudes, Ben and Matthew. They're awesome. And they start every single episode where they make some unique type of cocktail. Then they go on these alcohol-fueled rants about baseball and all these things. So head over there. It's awesome. It's a very fun podcast. Really feels like you're just hanging out with, two really cool guys. And they go through everything. And, one of my favorite things about sports podcasts, maybe I'm not that good at this, is just the comedy and the camaraderie that they bring about this. So get caught up with the Giants while learning how to make great tasting cocktails. And I'm telling you this, it doesn't get better than this. If you haven't checked it out yet, head over there, wherever you get your audio podcast, Giant Cocktails Podcast. Trust me, they're worth the effort. Go check it out. You're going to love it. And let them know the 49ers Rush podcast sent you. All right. So let's jump now to the cornerback position, which a lot of fans, especially early on before the Charvarius Ward signing, were saying, like, this one's the most important. Cornerback position. They've met with Marcus Jones, slot guy, one of my favorite prospects in this draft. I think he's the second to third round prospect. If you want to guarantee get him, you got to take him in the second or trade back in the second or up in the third. I don't think he's going to be there at 93. He's small, but his tape and return ability is too damn good. I don't think he's going to fall immediate starter. Kalen Barnes, second fastest person in combine history. Cornerback out of Baylor. He ran the 4.23 40. He was the one that initially broke the record, and then whatever else, they went back and the official time was 100th of a second behind. Who broke the record? I can't. Oh, John Ross. That's right. You got Chase Lucas out of ASU, Arizona State, Herm Edwards connection, man. We got a lot of guys there. He's a 5th to 6th round prospect. And then Trey Webb out of Montana State. He's more of a priority free agent, late day 3, maybe. That's where he kind of fits. Now, we met with one running back. This one's important to me because James Cook out of Georgia, Dalvin Cook's little brother, whenever I'm doing these mock drafts and, the 49ers are on the clock at 61 and you look at best player overall available, every time I see James Cook, I kind of do like the same thing as my French Bulldog does. Like whenever she's curious about something, I go, Like I do the little, because it makes sense. He's a perfect fit in our system. He's an absolute just playmaker, not the elite speed, even though he has speed. He's just, you can't measure what he has. And what I mean by that is you just got to watch. It's get your popcorn ready. And the fact that the 49ers met with one guy at the running back position and it's James Cook, I think they're fine getting a late round speedster to add to the running back core. There's a lot of those guys available, which I'm really excited about. But this guy is a certified playmaker that in a Kyle Shanahan, you're talking about somebody, him and Elijah Mitchell could be a 1-2 punch for years. That would be unreal. That's James Cook, which I would, man, I would like it. From Animal, he says, John, who's your dream defensive end at 61? Arnold Ebiketie would be a lot of fun. Let me just go to my list right here. That would be absolutely perfect. Again, to be honest with you, probably the best one, and I think 49ers fans won't like this, would be David Ajabo. I don't think he lasts that long. He's the one that just tore his Achilles at his pro day. He was a top 10 player for me. If you could get him, you're talking about somebody that could go back in December and be ready to go. I talked earlier about the depth that we have there with the 5 edge players already. He could rest. And the 49ers, they're playing for playoffs. Like that is David Ajabo, Boye Mafe. Those are the two types of guys that I want at 61 if we're going to be there. Arnold Ebiketie. If one of those guys fall, I doubt any of them will. But that's somebody that's somebody I really want. I really, really want. From Rome, he says Zaquandre White, Pierre Strong are better than Cook, but Cook is cool. I like those other guys. I don't know if I'd put them better. They might be better scheme fits in the Shanahan system, but the straight line speed. But I'm telling you right now, when I watch James Cook, it's just get your popcorn ready. It's just pure entertainment. I love that guy. I'm telling you right now. And a little spoiler alert, he might be my running back one in this class. Ugh. Yeah, over Breece Hall. Yes, over Walker. Yes. That's how much I like him. I love him. Would I take him at 61? Probably not. Probably not. But if we did, I'd be buying a jersey and I would not be upset. I think that you can allocate those funds much better, especially whenever you traded up last year for Trey Sermon. But again, the little kid, John Chapman in me, oh my gosh. I'm telling you right now, if we found a way to get James Cook, whew, man, it would, man, that would be fun. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. All right. One center, and I love this guy, Cam Jurgens out of Nebraska. He has probably the widest range of where, different sites have him graded. Anywhere from second round, I've seen with Dane Brugler, to fifth, sixth round on some websites. Like, he could go anywhere, but he's a perfect scheme fit for the 49ers. I think if you want him, third round's the latest you could get him. One safety, Leon O'Neal out of Texas A&M. He's a day 3 guy. One linebacker, Troy Anderson. This was interesting. He's a second round prospect. Like, we have 3 stud linebackers, but maybe the 49ers see something in him that would, again, how do the 49ers draft? They redshirt players. Both Dre Greenlaw and Aziz, last year, their deals. Maybe you draft Troy Anderson in the 3rd round if he falls. He's the 4th linebacker this year. You let one of those guys go, he steps in. I wouldn't want to spend that draft. I'd rather spend it on James Cook personally than Troy Anderson. I like Troy Anderson out of Montana State, but man, we've hit on so many linebackers, so many late that I don't know. We'll have to see there. And one offensive tackle, and that's Gene DeLance out of Florida, who's a developmental, super high kind of, former tight end, 6'7". He's huge out of Florida. That's a late day 3 guy that you'd redshirt, and then maybe he could fight for that right tackle spot if McGlinchey goes somewhere else or whatever. I don't know. There's lots of different variances there. But Animal, he says, are you out on Trey Sermon? I'm not. I'm not out on Trey Sermon, but if you can get somebody that you could envision, again, let's just say the 49ers are like me and not like you, Animal, because you value other guys more. And I love those guys that you brought up, those other running backs, Zaquandre White and Pierre Strong. There's lots of other ones. But what if the 49ers say, golly, we've got a 1st round grade on James Cook? And watching the tape, you could justify that. The metrics, not so much. But what if they do and he falls to 61? And what if Kyle Shanahan just says, why not? Let's go get this guy. I don't think that means you're out on Trey Sermon. It's just, man, we need running backs. Yeah, and I do think that, if we get another running back, they would battle it out with Hasty. That's correct. And Hasty's the guy you can probably keep on your practice squad, I'll be honest with you. Somebody might claim him, but he's not imperative to the future of the 49ers position, if that makes sense. But anyway, I don't know. I think that this was a very, very good look at some different things that you could do that the 49ers are trying to do. Edge, corner, wide receiver. That kind of came off to me. Now, if you're wanting to party with us on the draft, as always, guys, check this out. Look at that freaking awesome picture Juan Salas made. We're going to be partying in Mandalay Bay on the Vegas Strip with Fred Warner, with Eliza Mitchell. Still have tickets available. Go to 49ersrushroadtrip.com. Get your tickets, whether you want meet and greet, whether you just want to come party. This is, man, all food, all drinks included for several hours on the Vegas Strip. Rented out a swanky club, guys. It's going to be a good time. All 49ers fans. We're going to have an absolute blast. If you want tickets, head to 49ersrushroadtrip.com. It's going to be legendary. And if you maybe that's out of your budget, I understand it's expensive. It costs us a lot to get all this stuff taken care of. Day 2, super cheap, man. We rented out a brewery and there in Vegas, and we're going to be doing the same thing. All of day 2 picks, we're going to be coverage. We got so many different 49ers content creators coming out. It's going to be incredible. So I hope that you get to come out with us and party with us, because it's just going to be awesome. We're trying to create the best 49ers party out there, and that's really our only concern. Oh, look at this guy. Speak of the devil, the wonderful man appears. Juan Solis, thank you for the gift. There we go. Got to give something away. This guy's so incredible. So here we go. Let's do this. I'm trying to think of a question real quick. Who was somebody that the 49ers drafted that you thought was going to be amazing that turned out to be an absolute bust? So throw that up in the chat right there. Who is somebody that the 49ers drafted in the past that you were just sold was going to be the next 49ers great that just didn't pan out? And I'll pick one of those responses, and we'll be giving a shirt away. Thanks to the beautiful Juan Solis. Thank you, Juan. You're the absolute best, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm seeing lots of different stuff. Yeah, Juan just always, man. That dude's the best. And I can't say thanks enough for what that dude means just as a friend, what he does for the podcast, all the cut-ups. You saw the picture he made. The dude is just killing it. Without Juan, this podcast is not what it should be. So just want to say thank you, man. Appreciate all you do. Oh, Philip, he says, I like Abram Smith, running back. Dude is a cannonball. Yeah, we threw up a Baylor breakdown over on Patreon, and Philip emailed me right afterwards. I like this guy. He is a bowling ball. You are exactly right. Little Maurice Jones-Drew type build. He's fun. So if you want to go check that out, that's over on Patreon. I love this. Robin, hashtag CC. Sorry, I got it late. No worries, man. I'm loving it. Oh, Rashawn Woods. Yeah, I remember that one. The OSU wide receivers. They haunt me in my dreams. Witherspoon. Yeah. Oh, what's this? Lance. Oh, gosh. Got to get out of here, Bronco Niner. He's always bringing the terrible ones. Solomon Thomas. Yeah, everybody thought, you traded back. You thought he was going to be incredible. And Mitch Wisnowski. Oh, my gosh. That is awesome. Reuben Foster. Pettis. Yeah, these are the ones, man. These are the ones that hurt. Pettis. Jalen Hurd. Pettis. You see all these. Trent Taylor. He had that great rookie year, had that back injury, and it just never came back. Lattimore, oh, that one hurts really bad. LaMichael James, that dude. Taylor Mays and LaMichael James. J.J. Stokes. Oh, I got to go J.J. Stokes on this one. We took him with the 10th overall pick. So, Greg, I want to say congratulations. You are the winner of our shirt. I need you to email us, 49ersrushpodcast@gmail.com. I'll get you a shirt ordered and get it shipped out to you. So just want to say thank you, guys. I love this, man. Ooh, Joe Williams, as we talk about running backs. Look at that, Arnold. That Kyle Shanahan had to have. Remember, he pounded the table and couldn't sleep that night because he thought he might be gone. They traded up, never took one snap with the 49ers. But he had, the questionable past and work ethic, and that kind of came through. And that's why you meet with these guys. That's where that is. So, man, this has been fun. For those of you on the channel, make sure you hit subscribe because we got a crazy, really in-depth Debo breakdown that I spent a lot of time on. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. That's going to be coming out in just a couple hours. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't. And for those of you that are listening to this podcast and not on YouTube, I can't stress enough. Go check out our YouTube channel, hit subscribe, help us out. We're trying to build something different here. We're trying to build something that's going to last. And I don't know. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth your time. So just type in John Chapman on YouTube or type in 49ers Rush Podcast. It'll get you to our channel. Hit subscribe. Turn that notification bell on so when we do go live and we do our giveaways and all that stuff, you can take part of that. So just want to say thank you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And as always, stay strong, faithful.